So I'm just gonna come out the gate simping for this one. I love Eda Clawthorne. She is hands down one of the best written adult characters in a kids show I have ever seen. She has a fun personality, her development is great to watch. To see a lady in her mid-30s be a three-dimensional person and not be treated more than a punching bag because of her age is more than refreshing. So, without further ado, let's see what makes this foxy witch so great.
Okay, for those of you not currently in the loop and need a quick crash course in what I'm even talking about, Eda, the Owl Lady Clawthorne, is one of the main protagonists in Disney's animated show The Owl House, voiced by the very talented Wendy Malick. Although, it is a bit jarring to hear the voice of Beatrice Horseman and not see an alcoholic horse who is also a terrible mother. I don't know, it's weird. Like, you get used to it, but you can't just help but think, Beatrice, what are you doing? You're a horse. Now, I'm not going to explain the full plot of the Owl House because I really don't have the ability to do that without spoiling anything. P.S. This video is going to be filled with a lot of spoilers, so I suggest you go watch it and then come back. Okay, are you done? Good, let's get back to it then. Eda is, and these are her own words, the most powerful witch on the Boiling Isles, meaning she can do all types of magic without any restrictions. And when you live in a society that forces you to only practice one kind of magic and then join a coven system, you become public enemy number one. A problematic fave, if you will. Like the loose definition of that term, because we stand a woman in her late 40s telling the oppressive society she lives in to go kick rocks. With her understated knowledge of all magic, Eda has a lot of well-earned confidence. She doesn't take anything from anybody, and she's not afraid to stand up for what she knows isn't right. She and I actually have a lot of the same opinions when it comes to cops, censorship, and how the public school system works. All in all, a pretty cool lady that also happens to be a thief, a gambling addict, and a con artist. But a woman needs to make money when she lives in a magical capitalist hellscape. Eda is written with a lot of nuance to her, so she's really easy to love. And when her development happens, she really starts to shine. Okay, this is me in the future editing this video. At the beginning of the script, I said Eda was in her 30s, and then later on I said she was in her 40s. I looked it up. She's in her 40s. I don't know why I didn't notice that until after, but you know what? I'm too lazy to change it, so everybody get over it. What really drives Eda's personal growth is her relationship with Luz and how she deals with her curse. Now, if it's not obvious, Eda isn't exactly an expert when it comes to people, especially kids. She spent half her life living in the actual woods as she's a criminal on the run, and that doesn't leave a lot of time to build up personal relationships with others. She only ever goes out to the human world to steal stuff and then sell it. And other than King and Hootie, she doesn't really have anybody who needs her help or just to help her. At the very moment she meets Luz and agrees to teach her magic, we start to see a sudden change in her. And, over the course of the first season, the longer she has to take care of the human, the more Eda gets attached, something she thought would never happen to her. It doesn't happen all at once, of course. I mean, in the second episode, she completely forgets who Luz is and their entire agreement. Canonically, it's only been a day since the pilot, so that shows you how much she pays attention. Now, full disclosure, Eda isn't the best teacher, but you can't really give her flack for that. She's never taught anybody before and hates the way magic is taught publicly. Overall, Eda is probably the last person you would want to teach anybody, especially a human kid, how to use magic. Despite all that, Luz still wants to be the Wild Witch's apprentice. I mean, if it were me, I would have just gone back home, so props to you, Luz. Way to stick to your dreams, kid. Over time, Eda gives up a lot to help Luz realize her dream. She even succeeds at getting her a place into the magic school so she can learn it the... Can you not? Hello? Oh, God. She even succeeds at getting her into a magic school so she can learn how to practice magic, quote-unquote, the way it's supposed to be taught. A thing Eda absolutely hates. It goes against everything she stands for. But she knows she doesn't have the means to teach Luz on her own, so she swallows her pride, and for the first time in her life, she makes a very selfless choice. She makes sure that Luz has a proper education, so she can be the witch she wants to be. And that's just beautiful to see. If you can't already tell, I have a soft spot for the stories that have a grumpy middle-aged person who's a loner that's forced to take in a kid. And then over time, they basically adopt said kid. It's a good trope that I hope never falls out of style. And the way Ida comes to care for Luce feels so natural. I mean, when you compare them hugging in the first episode to the last one, you can see the difference. Ida's turned into a really big softie. Edas Curse is a major plot point, and it really drives a lot of the main conflict. Whenever she's stressed out or uses too much of her magic, she turns to a giant mindless owl beast. And the only way to turn her back to normal is to give her a special elixir. When I first learned about it in the 4th episode of the first season, I really didn't think much about it. It's a trope I've seen before. Something happens to a character that changes their form or behavior, and the other main characters have to deal with it. But it's never really expanded upon that much. It ends up just being a random plot point. I actually assumed there would be a lot of episodes with this exact premise, and it would get very repetitive and thus lose any kind of uniqueness it may have about it. Lucky for me, the writers take the time to expand on Edas Curse in great detail. I'm so glad there's more to it than just what's on her. She's actually had it since she was a kid, and not only does it affect her magical powers, it also messes with her personal life a lot. She hates having to deal with it. She often uses it as an excuse to push people away and to keep herself in isolation. I have to give props to the writer for how Ida deals with it. It's very realistic. She hides it from everybody, even the people she lives with, fearing it may drive them away. But with the help of Luce and her friends, she comes to accept it as part of her. It has nothing to be ashamed of. It's really inspirational to see something like that. To see a person have to deal with something that's like a chronic illness. How they struggle with it, how it affects their everyday lives, how they'll probably have to take medication to help manage it, and how there's no shame in really any of that. And that there will always be people who care about them, to help them feel like they don't have to be alone. And Ida is the perfect conduit for this message. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm drugging on at this point in the script, so I'll bring it to a quick close. Ida is just an amazing character. Her story, her character arc is just, I could go on and on for hours about her. And I can't wait to see where the story takes her next and to see her grow even more. And to be honest, I also wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of Harpy Ida. And also, I just want to know the furry on the team on the Owl House who wrote that idea. I know you're there. Let's be friends. I'm not a furry. Okay, so that's a wrap for my second official video. I had a lot of fun making this one. I definitely feel like I put a lot more work into it. I really looked around, I messed with effects, I found actual clips that weren't just trailers, and I hope it really shows, and I hope a lot more people watch it. As for my next one, I'm debating whether or not to make a Valentine's Day one, or just a one about how Star Trek Lower Decks made me a Trekkie. I don't know. Tell me what you want to see. Find me on Twitter at TheLittleNerdBird2. Also my Tumblr, Them Tolls for Thee. I'll put these links in the description so you can find me, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And I'll see you next time. Bye!